So here's a sandblasting booth, just about all done. Gone to a salvage yard earlier this morning. I've picked up those two fans there. Hopefully they'll be strong enough to get enough dust out of there. I've got my plastic sheeting over the front here. The board, which I'm just in the process of cutting out holes for the arms. I'll put another one here. And then I'll test it. So this is the first trial run of this blasting booth. Just made a makeshift door over here. Everything's ready, got the fans going, so we're just going to test it now and then I'll find out which gaps to close up, where the dust comes from. So this is the front bar support that I'm doing here. Just first piece that I'm trying, this blasting booth. It's coming up pretty well. There's still some dust coming out of it. I need to get some pipes on the end of these fans and then channel them out to another direction and point them down somewhere. But the main thing is it's not getting me, it's not covering me in dust and not choking me to death. So it's doing what it's designed to do. Okay, I've had some problems with the sandblast, it just keeps jamming up, so I've had to empty it out and restart it. So it's getting a bit late now, so I'll finish this tomorrow, but it gets everything pretty clean. So this area here hasn't been done yet, so I've just got to do this end. But gets it back to metal very nicely. So as soon as this is done, I'll take it out and I'll clean it off with wax and grease remover and then put it in primer. Well, it's just gone up to 12 in the afternoon. I've been doing this since 9:30 this morning and I haven't actually achieved anything because this thing here, this sandblasting unit, is just playing up on me. It's pushing out a lot of air but no sand. It pushes out sand for about 10 seconds and it just blows out air. Which is pretty frustrating because that's what I've been working on all morning. This valve leaks air as well, so it's got some problems. I should have had that front bar support all done and the hood should be in here now, having the underside of it blast. So I'll just play around with this and see if I can get this going. So this is the bit that takes the time on one of these. It's not a very big tank, you can get all sorts of different sizes. I think this is about a 10-gallon tank. Maximum operating pressure on one of these is 125 psi, which it's slowly getting there. The bigger problem I got is that compressor. It's not really powerful enough to get this thing fully charged and charged quick enough and then maintain the pressure. So you get about a good minute's blasting out of it if you're lucky. And then I've got to stop and wait for the pressure to build up again. But it's still quicker than doing it with a wire wheel. And a lot cheaper than getting all the parts sent off to get sandblasted, so it's just a matter of time. Hopefully I can get it all done and get this thing at least fully prepped and primed up before I put the hood in there. So this is literally about the 7th time I've stopped the sandblaster. It's heading towards 4 o'clock in the afternoon now and I still haven't quite finished that front bar reinforcement. And what I'm finding is the dirt is compacting itself inside this hose. And I'm not real sure why. So I've pulled the nozzle off the top, and there's this washer that comes out of it here, so I don't know if that's got something to do with it, so I'll see if I can replace that. So I've got the hood in there now, so that's the next part now. I'm going to blast the underside and see how that all comes up. Then I've got to do some patchwork on the corners. When I do the other side of the hood, I'm not going to sandblast that, I'm going to use paint stripper. The underside of this hood is kind of like night and day at the moment. So it's cleaning out really nicely. Just got this other half to do, and then I've got to fix those corners. Might be hard to see from there. A couple of corners need to be patched on this hood. getting all that grit out of all the trapped areas between the two skins. That's not going to be easy. And it's all got to be cleaned up and prepped. And the sandblasting's punched a hole through that. There's obviously a weak point of rust in there. So it's not a very big area, so that should be fairly easy to repatch and replace that little piece. But the rest of it's actually really good. It's fairly clean steel. So here's the hood after it was all washed down with vinegar water. See all that goldy effect on it? That's where it's theoretically penetrated metal and killed rust. I hope that's true. I hope it works. And in here there's, you can see there that rust has eaten through that part, so I'm just going to see how big that hole gets with a screwdriver, and then I'm going to attempt to just fill that in with welding wire. Little one there. Side. So let's try spot welding it, see how that turns out. If it doesn't work, I'll just make a whole new patch to go in there. Okay, so that's how it's come up like after spot welding and filling in with MIG welding. It's closed up all the holes, there's no more weak points there. I'll just use a flat disc to get that smooth on there. Once it's all painted up, you'd never even know that was there. Okay, so here are the tiny little patches that are going to go on the corners of this hood to finish out the top part. So this goes around this way. I've just primed the underside, and that'll go on there like so. And then I've got one in the other corner to do as well, so I'm going to spot weld these in place now. So there's the corner patch in its place. All I've got to do now is just work it in so that it flows flush with the bonnet. Of course it curves down this way, and got to get that right. That's come out pretty well. I've just got to put a final piece on the side here to close off this piece here. And just weld another piece in there, that'd be pretty easy. So that's that one. Then I've just got to come across this side and do this little corner here. And it's one step closer to being finished.